going out for lunch, aren't we? What I'm going to do is I'm going to do more of a general review of the Hyundai Ioniq, because the problem with the review that we did before was it was very much, you know, will this car replace a C-Class Mercedes for Soph with her use case? And that is not a fair test of what is ultimately a medium range EV and not a long range EV. Yes, that's the plan.
Good boy. Have to be a good boy.
There are just 2 shops.
Okay, so here's the thing. We weren't 100% fair to the Ioniq as far as the general public are concerned, because we were specifically looking at it from the point of view of would it fit the use case for Soph. Basically, our issue is we both, with some regularity, need to drive quite long distances separately. So therefore, what I thought I'd do is more of a sort of general review of the Ioniq as an actual EV. Now, we don't have it anymore because unfortunately we couldn't do any more than a 45-minute test drive, which means I'm going to have to use the footage I shot back then and just sort of talk you through what I felt about the various different features. Some of which we had an opportunity to test out, and some of which unfortunately we didn't, like the cruise control. There was no time to go on a motorway, so we couldn't really give that a go. Firstly, and most importantly, the cup holders were good. That's essential, because you'd be surprised how many cars fail to get the cup holders right. The screen and the navigation system seemed to work very well. The touchscreen wasn't as responsive as the Zoe's touchscreen, but there wasn't much in it. Functionally speaking, it was a-okay. The buttons under the center screen were absolutely fine. They were all in a sensible place. They did what you expected. They felt pretty good quality, actually, I've got to say. That's true of the steering wheel buttons as well. They were certainly a much better build quality than they are on my Gen 1 Tesla Model S, for example, which, I mean, they really do feel very cheap on the Tesla. It had a rear-facing reversing camera that seemed to work very well. It wasn't quite the sort of fisheye I'm used to with the Tesla. It's one thing I do quite like about the Tesla's reversing camera, is it's so wide angle that you can reverse safely without actually having to look out the back of the car. I mean, you should check both sides, of course, and maybe give it a quick glance behind, but you can see pretty much everything that is rear of that camera. It has heated and ventilated seats. They seem to work very well, although it was freezing, so we didn't get a chance to test the ventilation, but certainly the seat heating, woo, that worked very well. It's got a drive mode selector, which goes between eco, normal, and sport. In normal, the car is not the fastest you're ever going to find. I mean, it's fine for just driving around, but if you really want to get off the line at a reasonable speed, you definitely want to be in sport. And when it is in sport, it's probably the quickest non-Tesla EV I've ever driven. Perhaps with the exception of the original i3. I did give that a brief test drive once, and that was slightly nippier off the line. But other than that, it was certainly one of the nippier EVs out there at the moment. I like that you've got flappy paddles that change the level of regen. That's actually really clever. So what do you think of the music then?
It was better than I thought. Yeah, I thought it was acceptable.
The dash seemed fairly well organised. In terms of range, it was -2 degrees outside at the time, and of course it was a test drive on small local roads, so there was quite a bit of stopping and starting and corners, and not exactly the most efficient environment for a car. And we sat around in the car for a reasonable length of time as well, just chatting about the various different bits and bobs. So you add all that up, it still managed to do about 1 mile per percent. So in other words, it was good for 100 miles when fully charged. That's really impressive, because that suggests to me that had we been driving, actually going somewhere, we probably would have got 110, maybe even a bit more than that. In the middle of winter, it's fantastic. The car seems very efficient. I don't think you can expect to get a lot more than 130 in summertime. So the range is actually really quite good. It is what I would call a medium range electric vehicle, the ones that will do 100 miles up to about 150, rather than what I consider to be long range, which is any weather, any speed, driving 150 miles plus in range. I've got to say I wasn't a massive fan of the look. I mean, it wasn't ugly, it wasn't strange in its appearance. It uses the CCS charging standard. Around here you're not going to get more than 41 kilowatts out of the vast majority of electric charging points, but yeah, all round what I'm basically trying to say is it seems like a really good car. It's got good safety features, it's got good convenience features, the interior fit and finish seemed very good, the seats were comfortable. So if I was in the market for a car and I was happy to have a maximum range of about 130 miles, which means leaving your sort of 20-mile buffer, realistically you can do a 110-mile leg. If that was going to be enough for me, then I would seriously consider the Ioniq. Of course, as with anything, buying a car is very much about your personal preference and how you feel about the vehicle, but I liked it. In fairness, I haven't met an EV I don't like yet. Have I ever driven an EV I don't like? No, not really. Fantastic. Oh, it's quite nice.
Daddy has got safety.
Yeah.
Fantastic. The yummy meal. Thank you very much, Granny. It was a yummy meal.
Pleasure. No, I enjoyed it.
Come on, Jasper. Good behaviour. I hope you've enjoyed today's vlog post. If you have, remember to like it, share it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you tomorrow for the next instalment of my daily vlog. Bye. What I'm going to do is the original review that I did was very much. That's a great idea. A nice quiet cuddle. Right.
When we go to
No. Doesn't it just?
Mommy, when we go to